What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is the end of 2022. You know what that means. Year-end roundup. What are the products of the year? What impressed me the most? Let's chat about it. Were there some products that let me down? Were there some losers? Yes, there were. We're going to talk about those too. And when I talk about those losers, I'm going to tell you what you should buy instead. So make sure to watch the back half of this video also. I'm also going to tell you about some notable mentions. And those are going to be products that I wanted to keep for one reason or another, but couldn't. And let's jump into that category first. First notable mention is going to be the Dynaudio Emit 10. Love the speaker a lot. Thought it sounded absolutely fantastic. I just had no reason to keep another speaker, honestly. It had killer clarity for its price category and a ton of bass, all in a compact solution that I think would look good in most rooms. Again, I just had no use to keep another speaker. I had to sell it when I was done with it. It was a speaker that I had bought myself with my own money, so I had to sell it when I was done with it. I couldn't keep it. Next one was going to be the Bucart i150 amplifier. This was a review sample and I was very bummed out when I had to pack it up and send it back. I wanted to buy it badly. And the reason I wanted to buy it is because it has amazing features, room correction, incredible build quality, and it looks beautiful. And I thought this would be an incredible centerpiece for my living room, but I already have an amplifier up there and I just couldn't justify spending $2,000 on another amplifier when I already have one, you know what I mean? And in my living room, guys, I don't even listen to music. I just watch TV and stuff like that. So a $2,000 amplifier for casual TV use, bit too much, you know what I mean? So I was bummed when I had to send that one back. Really like that Bucart amplifier. Next one is going to be the Denafrips Hestia. I thought that was an amazing preamplifier. Would have loved to have kept that to make like a second or third sound system. I just don't have another room to turn into another listening room. I already have one listening room. That's quite a luxury. And then I have my living room upstairs. I don't have more than 2 sound systems. I have no use for another preamp. That was a review sample. It's going back. It actually hasn't gone back yet, but it's going to go back pretty soon. It's just sitting in my stairwell. The next 2 products are also Denafrips products, the Pontus 2 DAC and the Venus 2 DAC. Love those. Really wanted to buy those for myself. Not both of them, just, either one would have been super cool. But I already own the Aries 2 DAC. And while the Pontus 2 and Venus 2 are better, better clarity, better imaging, more expansive soundstage, more emotionally engaging. I mean, they're better in a lot of ways. The Aries 2 is still really good. So it's hard to justify spending another few $1,000s on another DAC when the Aries 2 is perfectly serviceable, So I still rock the Aries 2. What else do we have on this list of notable mentions? The Rhythmic G22 subwoofer. I wanted to keep this thing so badly. It was a review sample, but it's a 100-pound subwoofer, and my room is not that big, guys. My listening space is 12 by 14 with 9-foot ceilings. I got no use for a 100-pound subwoofer. I do not need that level of output, but its bass quality and fidelity and extension and just sound power were incredible. There were actually a few people that bought that subwoofer after I made that video, and they absolutely loved it. If you're in the market for a larger sub, the Rhythmic G22 is absolutely incredible. The last notable mentions, actually 2 more, sorry. We'll do this quick. The Silent Angel streamer. It was a streamer, power supply, and network switch. Yeah, it was a network switch. It was a notable improvement over my current streamer, which is the Blue Sound Node 2i. I definitely wanted to buy that for myself. It was $2,000 for the stack, but I was like, man, I don't want another stack of components. I don't. I try to keep my system as simple as possible, and my OCD just didn't allow me to buy a 3-box solution now. You don't need the power supply. You don't need the Ethernet switch. I definitely could have bought just the streamer, but the whole stack sounded better than my streamer, so I wanted the whole stack. But again, OCD just wouldn't allow that one. But notable mention, it did leave its mark on me. I remember that, and sometimes I miss that streamer. Last product that I actually didn't have to send this back because I bought this one with my own money and I still own it, the JL Audio E110 subwoofer. This one just really took me by surprise. In some ways, it did exactly what I was expecting, which is have incredible output and extension in a small compact enclosure. Hit like a freaking jackhammer, just have tons of sound power. What I wasn't expecting out of the JL Audio E110 was its amazing start-stop behavior and transient response. Absolutely incredible. Fantastic subwoofer. It's not cheap. It's $2,200, which is a lot for a sealed 10-inch subwoofer, but if you need as much output as possible from a compact solution, JL Audio's pretty much got that market cornered. That's it for the notable mentions. So let's jump into the products of the year. So what I did is I've got a speaker category with 3 different price categories. Then I've got a subwoofer category with 3 different subwoofers in it. And the real product of the year is one of the subwoofers. But first, I want to acknowledge some speakers that really impressed me. First one in the budget category at $210 a pair, the most neutral sounding speaker I've ever heard for this low of a price is the RSL CG3M. It's a small compact solution. It's going to be great mounted on a wall, part of a multi-channel system, or used in a small stereo system with a nice subwoofer. I really, really like the RSL CG3M, and that's going to be the winner of the ultra budget price category for me. Now, I do understand RSL is not sold all around the world, so I'm going to give you just one more winner in that price category, just for you guys that might be in other countries, the Sony SSCS5. It's a little bit larger, it's got a little bit more of a fuller sound. You probably wouldn't want to wall mount it, but what the Sony SSCS5 can do for under $200 is absolutely incredible. Next, we got a little bit more of an expensive price category, $600 to $800. First winner of this price category is going to be the Polk Reserve R100. What Polk did with the Reserve line is absolutely incredible. And here's the interesting thing. The Polk Reserve R100 isn't particularly good at any one thing. It's not like it has class-leading detail retrieval or the biggest soundstage you can get for the money. No. But it's its entire presentation as a whole. What it does is it portrays music in a way that is emotionally engaging, organic sounding, natural sounding. And I think it's a sound that a lot of people are going to like. You feel plugged into the experience, and I absolutely love the Polk Reserve R100. It is the champion at $649. If you got a couple more bucks and you want a little bit more of a neutral sound, the second winner of that price category is the $800 a pair Arundel 1961 bookshelf. Now, this was a pair of speakers I borrowed from a friend. I was not expecting to review them, and I had them for a very short period of time. They sounded so good. They were tiny. They're slim. They're designed to be wall mounted. They're sealed. They're really designed to be part of a multi-channel system and maybe serve as satellite speakers, but I reviewed them as a stereo set. I used a subwoofer, of course. And holy crap, the size of the stage, incredible for how small these speakers were, and how layered the depth was in the soundstage impressed me a lot. They reminded me a lot of the more expensive KEF LS50 Meta, and I think the Arundel 1961 bookshelf is a fantastic speaker, whether you're going to use it for a small micro system or part of a larger multi-channel system. I think it's fantastic, and its build quality is truly on another level, especially for its price category. Now, the last speaker for the product of the year category, or speaker of the year, is going to be $2,000. And it is the Supermon Mini by Mon Acoustics. And the reason I chose that speaker for the speaker of the year is going to be its build quality is insane. It's using super high-end crossover components, high-end drive components, a billet aluminum cabinet. You don't see this kind of shit at $2,000 normally, guys. This is incredible stuff. Now, it does happen to be another small speaker where a subwoofer is going to be mandatory. But if you can get this thing to pair nicely with a good high-end subwoofer, you're going to be rewarded with sound that's normally going to cost $5,000, $6,000, or maybe $10,000 to get. The Supermon Mini by Mon Acoustics is fantastic in what it could do with the human voice, whether it be male or female vocals. Now, speaking of subwoofers, let's jump into the subwoofer category. First, I want to just kind of throw a bone to dudes that don't have a ton of money. This is not really like on my list, but I kind of just thought of it right now. Look, if $200 is all you got to spend on a subwoofer, I'm not awarding this subwoofer in any particular category. I'm just saying if $200 is all you have, the Yamo C912 is pretty good. It sells for about $200, sometimes a little bit less. It's got a nice clean linear sound. And again, if that's all you got, maybe go for that. That's what I recommend. But as far as subwoofers, I'm going to actually award as products of the year. Let's start first with the under $500 category. This one's a no-brainer. Listen, you don't need to watch any reviews. You don't need a demo. You don't need to ask your buddy what he thinks. You don't need to read any articles. You just need to hop over to RSL's website and buy the Speedwoofer 10S Mark II. It is simply put the best subwoofer money could buy if your budget is $500 or less for a subwoofer. Done. That is the subwoofer of the year for the under $500 category. Next, let's say you got a little bit more money, you got a little bit more space. Rhythmic E15 HP2. This is a bad motherfucker of a subwoofer. Holy shit. This was a subwoofer I borrowed from a friend to review it, and I gave it a rave review. And after he saw the review, he called me and he was like, hey, I saw your review of the Rhythmic E15 HP2. Seemed like you like it. I said, I didn't like it. I fucking loved it. And he's like, do you want to buy it? I'll sell it to you. And I thought, oh my goodness, yes, I absolutely want to buy it. But I already own the Rhythmic F12 SE and the FVX12. I don't need a third Rhythmic subwoofer. Again, my room is not that big. I don't need that level of output. But the reason I'm crowning the Rhythmic E15 HP2 the subwoofer of the year, or product of the year just in general, is what it could do in all the categories we can use to describe sound quality. Handling of delicate passages, nuanced detail, bass fidelity, note-to-note distinction, articulation, bass tone and texture, dynamic output, extension. Oh my goodness, its extension spec is 14 hertz at -2 decibels. That is incredibly low, even for a 15-inch subwoofer, guys. If you're in the market for a compact 15-inch subwoofer, the Rhythmic E15 HP2 is without equal. Holy shit. Now, let's say you like everything I just told you about that subwoofer, but you're like, I don't need the output and I can't fit something that big. I've got one last product of the year for you guys. This is a unique subwoofer. It's very compact. It doesn't have a ton of output, but it still plays plenty loud. But what it does have is a ton of extension, and that is the KF92. Holy shit, guys. If you're in an apartment, for example, or a smaller space where you don't need the output that a 15-inch subwoofer can deliver, but you would very much like to have its level of extension, the KF92 extends lower than any small subwoofer has a right to. I know a few guys that own it, and it continues to impress them day after day. Whether you've got it as part of a music system or a compact home theater, the KF92, you will never find a subwoofer that extends that low in that small of a form factor in and around $2,000. So, subwoofers of the year were pretty straightforward. We had the RSL in the budget category, the KF92 for a good compact solution, and the Rhythmic E15 HP2 is just the overall winner, right? Just period. That is my product of the year. If I could just pick one, it is the Rhythmic E15 HP2. Incredible. Now, there were some products that didn't impress me. These products aren't bad necessarily. They're not all losers, but they're all products where if you were to ask my opinion, I would tell you to buy something else. And I'm going to tell you what those products are and what that something else you should buy instead is. So, first and foremost, the KLH Albany 2 bookshelf speaker. It wasn't a bad speaker. It's just at $349, I felt like it didn't really compete with the market. And if you came to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about buying this speaker, Nemo, what do you think? I'd say save some money, get the Emotiva B1 Plus instead. You're going to save yourself $127 and get a better speaker. So that's that out of the way. Next, ELAC BS41. It's $165 and it's decent. It's just, if you asked me if you should buy it, I'd tell you to buy the Sony SSCS5 instead. I think the Sony SSCS5 has a sound that is much more clear, clean, and articulate. It sounds a lot more open and engaging. And I think most people will prefer the Sony SSCS5 over the ELAC BS41. And I think, depending on what price the Sony's selling for, you're going to save yourself a couple of bucks. Next one is going to be another ELAC, unfortunately, the ELAC Debut 2.0 B5.2. It goes on sale sometimes for as little as $200, and if that's the price you were looking at, and you said, hey, Nemo, should I buy it? I'd say, no, I don't really like that speaker too much. You should buy the Emotiva B1 Plus instead. It's about the same price. Now, what if the ELAC Debut 2.0 B5.2, it's such a long name, was not on sale? It was full price. It was $329. What should you buy instead if you've got a little more money? Triangle Bro 3. The Triangle Bro 3 is much better than the ELAC Debut 2.0 B5.2. So those are my two recommendations to buy instead of that ELAC. Next one. Now this is interesting because I've recommended Emotiva a ton over some other speakers, but the next speaker on the list is an Emotiva speaker, and it's the B2 Plus. If you came to me and said, hey Nemo, should I buy the Emotiva B2 Plus? It's $499. I'd say no. Buy the smaller B1 Plus instead and save yourself $277. Here's why. The B1 Plus sounds absolutely incredible. There's nothing the B2 Plus really does that the B1 Plus can't do. The B1 Plus is fantastic. There's no reason to not save that money and get the smaller model. Now, there are some usage cases where that B2 Plus makes a lot of sense, so let me make this clear. If you're going to be playing the speakers real loud, you might prefer the bigger B2 Plus. Or if you're going to be using these for main left and right speakers in a theater environment, you're going to appreciate that more powerful sound the larger B2 Plus can produce, that, that headroom they're going to be able to offer you. They're going to be able to play louder, have more dynamic output. That really matters in a theater setting. But if you're putting together a compact stereo, which is what my channel really focuses on, I'd say save the money and get the B1 Plus instead. It's my opinion. Next one, Rel T0. Now, I love Rel subwoofers. You guys know this. But the Rel T0 is a subwoofer I worry most people don't understand. If you watch my entire review and you buy it, I think you'll be happy with it. The problem is most people don't watch the whole video. I've actually talked to a few people that have bought the Rel T0 based on my review, and they love it. They're super happy with it. And in that video, I say the Rel T0 is designed for the person that wants to feel like their speakers are just a little bit bigger. That's it. That's what it does. But then I get people telling me they're buying a Rel T0 or a pair of Rel T0s for a home theater system, and they're expecting this tiny box to bang like a 10-inch sub. I don't understand this, but what's recently come to my attention is a lot of people don't understand a small subwoofer can't do what a larger subwoofer could do. So to err on the side of caution, I have been recommending the Rel T5X over the Rel T0. It is $200 more, but I think that extra $200 is money well spent. Now again, if you're really clear on what the T0 is, by all means, go ahead and buy it. If you're certain all you want is for your speakers to sound just a little bit bigger. But if you want more than that, you're going to want the T5X for that $200 more. Next product on the list, if you came to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about buying the Triangle Bro 2s, what do you think? I'd say, don't do it. Buy the Triangle Bro 3s instead. Here's why. Oftentimes, like right now, for example, I checked before filming this video. It depends on the finish and the color, but I was able to find the Bro 3s for just $70 more than the Bro 2s. Now, the Bro 2s are great, don't get me wrong. It's just the Bro 3s are so much better for $70 more. It's a larger sound, it's a fuller sound, it's got cleaner and clearer bass, and a much more open top end with a lot more clarity. So for that reason, I'd say no to Bro 2, go for Bro 3 instead. So that pretty much wraps up this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if any of these products were a surprise to you or not. This channel does have a free Discord. If you want to hop in there and chat, ask some questions, feel free. Just don't be an ass. If you got general questions, you can ask in the YouTube comments below. But like, if your question requires like a lot of like follow-up questions, like just hop in the free Discord. It's free. It's a lot easier to converse in there than it is in the YouTube comments, guys. So thank you for tuning in. And until next time, later.